Welcome to the Travelling Healer podcast, a podcast where we interview healers, practitioners, and thought leaders in the field of healing, where we push your boundaries and beliefs in what is truly possible in healing.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Travelling Healer podcast. Today I've got Jeanette Wilson with us. She's a medium, a healer, and she's also an author. You've written 4 books, is it?
4 books.
4 books, and was on a TV show, was it Dare to Believe?
Yes.
Yep, that was a few years ago in New Zealand, so it also was overseas as well, is that right?
That's right, spirit medium Jeanette Wilson on Sky in UK,
Cool.
Israel and Italy.
Awesome, yeah. So today I thought I'd bring you along on the podcast to share your experience with psychic surgery and healing. It's a pretty fascinating journey you've got. I read your book, Medium Rare, and I've also seen you live doing some healings with people, and it's really fascinating. I initially got into that psychic surgery theme with John of God. I was watching him online about 6 years ago, and that really just blew my perception of what was possible back then. And then I saw that you were in town, how long ago? Probably about 6 months ago, and I thought I'm going to go and see that. So it really just confirmed for me that more is possible. So yeah, I thought I'd bring you on and share what your journey has been. So what does healing mean to you?
It's a big area. I've been to see John of God twice.
Yep.
So he is the real deal. Anybody that's watching this with a family member or themselves, if you're terminally ill, go to Abidjan in Brazil. It's like heaven on earth, and John of God is absolutely the real deal. John of God has 2,000 spirits work with him, spiritual flange of 2,000. I've got 17, so that's sort of where I am in the scheme of things. He's an amazing man himself as a human being, very humble, but the spirits that work through him are extraordinary. So some of the spirits I work with are John of God spirits. I also have another team of spirits that work. It seems to be that it's whatever the person needs.
Yep.
And so although I've been working as a healer for like 23 years and I've got a full diary and have had for many, many years, most of my clients don't die. I can count still on one hand those that have passed.
Wow.
And the reason for that is the people that I can help get drawn to me. So there's not really a need to advertise. The people that are supposed to find their way to you do, and they're
true.
the ones that your energy resonates with the right spirits, so that they can come through, basically. Yeah.
It's fascinating. So how did you build up 17
guides?
Yeah, so like where did it start? Did it start
Can't
from
tell
one
you.
or what?
No, I've always had more than one, always been aware of more than one.
Yeah.
My background was I was a bank manager in the UK.
Yeah.
No imagination, not prone to flights of fancy. And so when my first experience of spirit was my grandfather, and he was in my chest. He was about the size of a walnut in my chest, and he'd made a terrible mistake. And what happened was, when he died, instead of passing over, his spirit stayed with me, and that granted me some level of protection from the spirit world. So when he realised he'd made a mistake, because in my head was his voice as well as mine, so all my choices weren't always my choices, he moved out of my space very quickly, but he left me not able to protect myself. And so then I was open psychically to spirit world, which is what some children and some teenagers experience, but it's hard for us adults to grasp. And so at the age of 31 I was very vulnerable, very open, and then I had to learn to protect myself, and in protecting myself I closed myself down completely. And then my visit to John of God was significant, because there I was guided to learn discernment about the spirits that work with us, and that was about 10 years ago. So now I work with those spirits that are aligned with the will of God or the will of good. Mine isn't a particular religious path, but I absolutely know that there is a higher power that we're all a part of. And that higher power doesn't require us to worship that higher power, but if we connect in with that higher power can guide us. Doesn't mean to say our lives will then be plain sailing. We've all got tests, we've all got challenges, because we're here to grow. But you have more confidence moving through those tests and challenges.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about the beginning? So you're saying you were a bank manager,
Yeah.
and you weren't into
No.
psychics,
No, I'd have called them all charlatans, frauds, preying on those most needy in our society. So I absolutely embrace skeptics when they come up with something like that, because I was there too.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that we should all have an open mind about things and not rely on anybody else's beliefs.
Yeah.
And that's the path I've taken, is to have my own experiences and form my beliefs about this reality based on my own direct experience. Where we are asked to just trust something and have blind faith, that doesn't augur well, because you're going to be challenged. And I think you do need your own direct experience. And I'm very fortunate that I've had that. But part of that good fortune to have that is because I've asked for it. I've consistently said, show me, prove it to me. And I've kept questioning. So I think it's really, really good to keep questioning.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to have healthy skepticism, but still be open-minded.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always the same as well. I just keep asking the questions. Like, is there more? It's more possible. It's more possible, because you won't look if you're not open to it at all.
That's right. As soon as you say I know, all learning stops. So I'm really, really happy to say I don't know. I can share with you what I've experienced. I know my experiences as a medium are very, very different to any other medium I've ever met. I didn't see spirit as a child. Most of them did.
Yeah.
I only saw it at 31. But what that means is by then I developed my left brain, my logical brain, and I can understand when people are sceptical, the need for proof.
Exactly.
And a lot of mediums do not provide evidence, survival evidence, to the highest possible standard. That isn't to say they shouldn't do it. We're all learning, but we need to set that benchmark for proof higher. And one of the beautiful things that the healing allows me to do, whereas somebody might be skeptical about a message from spirit, is it from dad or not? If I do a healing on a body and a person gets miraculously better in 3 or 4 minutes, people start questioning, and that's what I want them to do. I don't want anybody to follow me because I haven't got a clue where I'm going. But I do want people to question what you've been told, question the whole medical system that's based on Newtonian physics, which we know is out of date, because we know the world isn't solid, we know it's vibrating energy. So that's the medicine of the future, is vibrating energy.
So what would you describe psychic surgery as? What in your own words, how would you describe that?
Right, so me personally, I wouldn't call myself a psychic surgeon, I'm not. But one of the guides that works with me has told me, you are a psychic surgeon. And I think, no, I'm just the instrument, because they're the surgeon. On the best level of describing it, on one level, it's spiritual reconciliation. So the soul is not at peace about something. It might be past lifetime, it might be this lifetime, it might be regrets, it might be I wish I'd done this and I didn't. It might be guilt, it might be shame, it might be old hurt, it might be grief, it might be loss. It can be anything. And what happens in my experience is the higher level being that has more consciousness than me, more consciousness than the subject, just brings in that higher level of consciousness. And as they do that, the higher self of the person can draw through what it is they need. Now the healing can take place. I can see scalpels, I can see stitches, I can see muscle and tissue. Is that really happening? There's some evidence to say yes, that is happening. People have experienced scars after surgery, but I tend to think it's done on an energetic level, and that they're just giving me something to keep my brain busy so that I don't think about it too much.
So I also noticed as well, so watching some videos of John of God, he's pretty much under complete trance by the looks of it.
Totally, full trance.
But I noticed that you're still conscious and talking to us like normal, and whatever the healing you're doing is just happening with your hands. So that's quite interesting how you're
I'm
so
quite
different.
And so John of God helps millions of people in a year, millions, I guess, at least maybe hundreds of thousands, a lot of people. I'm more limited in how many people I can help. But one of the things that does happen at my sessions is they get better in front of your eyes. John of God, there are going to be more people that are terminally ill. They're not necessarily going to get better visibly in front of your eyes. We're aimed at two different markets. When I was with John of God, I asked to be the welcome mat to introduce people to what he does.
Wow.
So I'm sort of the one that starts opening the hearts and the minds, so that then you can go see John of God for an altogether more deeper experience.
Wow.
But it's fascinating. I love going to my own shows because I never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the thing that's happening over time is they're just getting faster and faster and more powerful and more powerful.
Wow.
There's been a product that's helped me with that, which is a micronized purple rice. That's brought me incredible benefits. And other than that, what's accelerated my journey is Reiki healing, Reiki self-healing every day, and meditation.
Great.
And really committing yourself to being an instrument or a servant or of service.
Yeah.
And aligning your will with the higher will. That's what I'd recommend.
How do you do that though? The last
Intention.
Is it just intention? Yeah.
Just intention, moment to moment, day to day.
Yeah.
We have personal goals and aims, of course we do. You know, we want somewhere nice to live. I mean, I live somewhere nice, as you can see. This is good for me. I've got to look after myself so that I can then help others.
Yeah.
And I think I see too many healers get sick. Too many healers are not well, and they're out of balance. You have to learn to look after you. And you have to learn to look after your finances and your family, because those stressors will affect you and they will undermine what you're doing otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I read a book, I think it's called A Time to Heal. It's about a healer in UK. I think his name was Gordon something. Anyway, I read it like maybe 2 years ago. And it was about his amazing healings that he did, but also his struggle in life. You know, his health was terrible and his finances were really bad, and I just thought, I don't want to do that. I don't want to struggle through life but help so many people. I think if there's a way to find a balance,
to do both.
Yeah.
And at different stages in my journey, I've charged different amounts for healing.
Yeah.
So when I started as a healer, I matched my hourly rate with what the bank paid me, because I gave up a full-time job, which was a well-paid job.
Yeah.
And then one day I decided, well, I'll halve my rate to double my business. Well, I didn't. I halved my business because I didn't believe in myself. My clients then didn't come.
Yeah.
What I consider is that in charging a reasonable rate, like here in New Zealand, I charge $75, which is about 30 British pounds. That kind of, which is not excessive. Most people expect I'll charge 200 of our dollars, but I don't. That level of income means that when I find somebody that needs healing that can't afford it, I can say, look, you don't need to pay. Or if I find somebody that needs 6 sessions, I can say, well, look, I'll just charge you for 3. It gives me flexibility.
Yeah.
If I charged a lower rate, I wouldn't have that flexibility. And my advice to anybody watching this is, do what feels right for you in your heart. At every stage, you're advertising for your business. Do what feels right in your heart.
Yeah.
If it feels right to work with groups of people, work with groups of people. Listen, I do work with individuals, with small groups, with families. I love getting families together. When somebody is terminally ill, I want the whole family involved in that healing.
Yeah.
Because the family are there feeling powerless. It's not so long ago that if somebody was sick, the whole family would go to the witch doctor and say, we are sick. It's all about the energies that happen. If you're working with a person and they're in a relationship that's not working, the family are all terrified they're going to die, that energy is affecting that person. We've got to take everybody on the journey with us.
Yeah.
Financially as well, I believe that if you are struggling, you are running a struggle energy that is detrimental, that will affect you on other levels. You need to let go of that. You'll find it in the solar plexus. I found it in me one day. I just made the decision, I'm not having that anymore. I let it go. Because I want to operate out of joy, ease and lightness.
Yep.
Then I will be I'll embody. Just like you saw that healer, you don't want to be like him. You're going to get more healers if healers can see, hey, you can do this. You can have a nice lifestyle. You can have the material comforts in life, and you can help a lot of people. Exactly.
I mean, I've heard so many healers say, oh, I don't do much of that anymore because, I couldn't make money off it, or no one would pay them, but I just look at them, I just think it's more a self-worth thing rather than...
It's a belief. It's just a mindset. It's a belief. Yeah.
So it's refreshing to meet other healers that are actually, living a balanced life like that. So it's really cool.
The way I look at it is this: is whether you earn money or not is neither here nor there. How much you earn is neither here nor there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's how you use that money.
Yeah.
So I am empowered now to make conscious decisions about how I use my money. And that's priceless, absolutely priceless.
Absolutely.
And then you feel really, really good, because it feels good to be generous.
Mm.
And then that has benefits for your health.
Exactly. You're not slaving, helping people and just wearing yourself out, because
No,
I mean, if
it
you're,
doesn't work.
I mean, I've noticed you do a lot of shows, you hear a lot of people,
Yeah.
and you're just, glowing with energy.
Yeah.
Which is amazing,
I have an amazing, I work more hours than anybody I know.
Yeah.
I won't say I don't need holidays. I rarely take holidays, but then why would I need to? Look at the background. I wake up and go to sleep to the sound of the sea every day.
Mm.
But this has only happened for me in the last year.
Mm.
Up until the last year, I was doing what I thought I ought.
Yeah.
And I just made a decision, and it was as simple as finding the struggle within me and just deciding, no, I want to live my life differently. I want to be an example as to how you can get the balance right.
Yeah, exactly.
There's too many examples out there of not getting the balance right.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's inspiring.
Yeah. And think about your kids, guys. Are you living the life that you'd want your kids to live? And if you're not, you've got the balance wrong.
Yeah. So can you tell us a bit more about what's happened in the last year for you?
Yes, so in the last year I made a decision that I wanted my life to be different. I was working as a healer, I got a crystal shop, I got a healing centre, I employed 7 staff. But financially it was a struggle, because I had to be there running workshops, seeing clients for income to come in. And I needed $13,500 every month just to pay their wages. A lot of my staff were part-time. It's not that I paid them peanuts. But I employed mostly solo mums. I thought I was doing the right thing. Then I just had this epiphany that I needed my life to be different, because I wanted to feel different. And it was about losing that struggle. But if you can lose that struggle this lifetime, your health will improve. A lot of the people I see, they're either struggling with a relationship they shouldn't be in, or it's financial. 9 times out of 10 it's actually financial.
True.
People are running like rats on a wheel, and they
Yeah.
haven't got their finances sorted.
Yeah.
So I made that decision, and in a very short space of time the universe became cooperative. So the house that I thought I was moving to wasn't available. Somebody else beat me to it. The next house I thought I wanted, when I saw it close up, I didn't want it. It was too big, too much housework. And so I sat there for like 10 seconds thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? 2 teenage kids, I've brought us to this area. The house I thought we were moving to has fallen through. I'm only in this house, a holiday rental, for 2 weeks. And my heart sank. And in that moment I just made the decision, no, if this has happened, it must be because something else is better. Something else out there is better for us. I did a quick scan of Trade Me. That's a site to look for rental properties in the area. I went and grabbed the local paper and looked for rental properties. Nothing. So then I walked the beach, this beautiful beach. It's about a 7k walk there and back. And I decided, of all the houses on this front, where would I like to live? And I decided the one I was renting, the downstairs of, that's the house I wanted. But I knew it wasn't for rent.
Yeah.
So I knocked on the door and I said, could I rent this? And they said, yes. So I created an opportunity for myself based on what I knew I wanted in my heart. And then as the time came that I needed to leave that property, I was sat there again, and I thought, well, where do I want to go? Where's better than this? I've already walked the beach. I couldn't find anywhere better than the house I was in. And I kid you not, within 30 minutes there was a knock on the ranch slider. It was the lady upstairs to say, I know you're going to be leaving here soon, but we do have another property further down the beach. Would you like to look at it? Looked it from the outside, wasn't impressed. Went inside. It was just what I needed. It had got a bigger lounge. It was even more amazing than the first place, but from outside I didn't realise. And so we moved here. Life becomes cooperative when you listen to your heart, really take your awareness into your heart. What is it you want? And don't think about it as a thing. Don't think about it as X numbers of dollars in the bank. Think of it as a feeling. It might be freedom. It might be more time to do the things you wanted to do. So when I moved here, I joined an art class, I joined a yoga class, I joined a dance group that turned out to be hip hop. When once hip hop is not for me, but I had a lot of fun in that session.
Yeah.
So it costs very little to join little local community groups doing things you think you might enjoy. Do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get yourself out of the rut. Walk the beach. It's all free. A lot of the really important stuff is free. Take a blanket. Lie up under the stars. Lie out in nature under the stars. Climb a mountain. Go on a ramble. Do things. Go skinny dipping when it's ice cold in the morning. Do things that your ego maybe not want to do, but will just break the rut.
Yeah.
You've got to shift your energy.
Yeah.
And find that micronized purple rice. But it's amazing because it changes your life.
All right, tell us about the purple rice.
Right, I won't use a trade name,
Okay.
but there is only one in the world.
Okay.
So it's a micronized purple rice. I came across it just over a year ago and it totally changed my life.
Yep.
So for me, my background is I've been a healer for 23 years. I've been a vegetarian for 23 years. Synchronicity there. Yes, there is. Read about it in my first book, Medium Rare. I've meditated on a regular basis. I've been to India to see Sai Baba. I've been to Brazil to see John of God. I take a spoonful of this stuff and within 20 minutes I feel amazing, the best I've felt my whole life. I'm 54 now. I was 53. Was I 53 when I took the rice? I can take a spoonful of this stuff and feel the best I've felt my whole life. I've never smoked a cigarette, I've never experimented with any drugs, but I decide this has got drugs in. This must have drugs in. This must be what marijuana is like. Apparently not. It is just rice. But our food now is so diminished that it doesn't have the nutritional value that this rice does. It's grown in the Siam Valley in Thailand, it's grown organically, and then they've used the very latest technology to take it's actually the endosperm out of the rice, and they've isolated polysaccharides, which are sugars and carbs, and polypeptides, which are proteins. Now, if any of your viewers haven't seen The Most Important Hour of Your Life with Bruce Lipton, watch it, because it is truly the most important hour of your life. And in it, Bruce talks about how we are receptors, and every cell in our body has got 100,000 receptors. Now, those receptors need, I've got to get this the right way around, it's a sugar, so that those receptors are sensitive. Now, what the PXP has done for me is it's made me more sensitive and more aware. That helps me stay present better. What presence does, presence is the doorway to enlightenment. You can't become enlightened without being present. The best example of this on the planet is Eckhart Tolle. If you've not come across him, watch him on video, watch what he does. He does this amazing thing with his eyes. Whenever he's talking, he looks up here and then he looks up there, and he brings himself into presence. You can learn to do it. So it's my understanding that the sugars in that product help those receptors activate in my body. That's my direct experience. Can't prove it scientifically, guys, but 23 years being a psychic, it's good stuff. Now, the information from those receptors, so if you think stimulus response in life, stimulus response, the signal gets transmitted to all our internal organs, our bloods, our brain, our heart, and that's a protein. And the other thing they take out of the rice is a polypeptide, which is your proteins. And so basically it means you're more alert, you're more aware, you're on more of an even keel emotionally. It takes a lot now to wind me up. I do get wound up, but not nearly as much as I did. You're a lot more mellow, but you're still alert mentally. It's not like a dopey feeling. You sleep better, you sleep less, but you sleep really deeply. I'd forgotten what it was like to get that real deep sleep where you wake up refreshed. That's what I get. Awesome. And I rave about the product. My income stream from the product now allows me to do my healing shows for free.
That's so cool.
Which is awesome. And it's allowing me now, I'm just about to travel into Europe, because the income stream from that product allows me to do that. That sells while I'm packing my suitcase, while I'm on a plane. There's nothing I have to do back here. So if you're looking for an income stream that provides you with a lifestyle, I'm sure, Jamie, you'll post some links at the end of the thing where people can link with you and find out more.
Absolutely. Yeah, cool. So going back to the healing side, what's one of the most amazing, if there's one case that pops up in your mind?
Yeah.
Most amazing healing you've seen in front of you?
Oh, so many. It's so many. The most amazing early one was a 4-year-old girl called Poppy, who was 4 years old, who was brought to me because one leg was longer than the other and she limped.
Yeah.
During the session I felt nothing. Instead of having my hands like this, because she was a 4-year-old and because I was all in white and I didn't want to freak the kiddie out, there was a toy reindeer because it was Christmas, and so I held the toy reindeer and the reindeer did the healing. And as a consequence, because I was holding the reindeer, I didn't feel anything coming through my hands.
Okay.
But 20 minutes after the session, Mum and Dad rang me to say she was no longer limping. And that's really gratifying. Lots of people with cancer over the years.
True, yeah.
People that go into hospice and then come out. Yes! Because that wakes everybody in the hospice up.
True, yeah.
The thing that most startles me over my years is doctors don't come and see me. I have worked for Kids at Starship. That's our kiddies hospital in Auckland.
Yeah.
I've only lost one kiddie in Auckland, and
Wow.
I took her to Brazil to see John of God because I knew I wasn't getting her as well fast enough. She got a brain tumour, but nobody ever comes to see me. You would think they would at least be curious.
I mean, if one of my clients raves about something they did that I've never heard of, you know, often, especially if I hear about it a couple times,
Yeah,
I'll
you
actually
would
go.
think.
Yeah, I
You
just
would
go and
think.
check it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, what if, you know?
What if?
Right,
What
rather than cutting off that opportunity, you know, that possibility
Yeah.
completely, just check it out. You don't know until you actually experience it yourself, you know, or see it yourself. So that's what I've always been
in
like.
23 years, I've only had 23 doctors really curious about what I do.
Wow,
Yeah.
one a year.
Sorry, 3.
Oh,
So
sorry.
in 23 years, I've only had 3.
Oh wow,
In
That is not
23
many.
years, that's not many, eh?
absolutely
And
not.
2 of them are now in Australia, and when they were here, they would recommend their clients to me. Can't give you their
Cool.
names for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And the other doctor loved the micronized purple rice so much, she's a great advocate for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there is in New Zealand, I don't know if you know, there's about, it's across New Zealand and Australia, there's about 300 doctors, functional and integrative medicine doctors.
That's not many, really, though.
That's not many
Yeah.
relative to how many there are.
Yeah.
But it's good that we're starting to see the signs of that, which is good.
Yeah.
And a local naturopath is trying to arrange for me to speak to them.
That's so cool.
So that will be great if that happens, but
Yeah.
we won't hold our breath. So going back to amazing things, a lady with the tremble, she'd had it for, you may have been at that one actually, the lady with the tremble, it was in Danny Verk, and then the thunder and lightning came over.
No, I wasn't.
Oh
there,
no, okay, well, we're on a hillside in this lovely centre, and she's had a tremble for 6 years. She works in hospices. As I do the healing, the rain builds up, thunderstorm, and as the healing subsides, the rain subsides, and then there'd been no rain in this area for like 3 weeks. There was no rain in this area 3 weeks afterwards. But she was a lady who worked in hospice, and all that she'd done was she'd taken on all these spirits.
Okay.
And I just had to move them out of the space.
Wow.
The most gratifying ones are people who are mentally ill. They are the most
Yeah.
gratifying ones, where they've got bad spirits with them,
Wow.
what you'd call a possession.
Yep.
Not nice work to do. Do not like doing it, but do it, because I don't know who else I'd refer them to. But to see somebody come right mentally,
Yeah.
that's huge.
How do they get like that? Like, how do they have spirits possess them? Or
Well, I'll give you an example of one. The worst one I came across was an Indian gentleman who found me. He came to me. He stayed with me. We agreed all the pricing up front. He stayed with me for 3 nights. He'd got accommodation. He got his healing. And at the end of his session, he got loads of spirits with him. I had to work on him for 3 sessions. And he needed crystal light beds. That's the other thing I do. John, I've got crystal light bed. And at the end of the experience, I think he owed me about $650. He didn't pay.
Whoa.
He didn't pay, and it's like, oh, now I know why you've got all those spirits with you. Along his journey, he'd not made good, moral, ethical decisions. And thankfully for me, his wife rang me because she knew what her husband was like and sorted out the bill with me. But I rather suspect his problems have all come back, because if you're cheating people, karma's real, guys. You know, we're made of energy, so the energy that we are putting out is rippling back and coming back to us. You can't escape karma. You might think you can, but you can't. It comes back a different way, and I think that's what people misunderstand. You know, we were talking about healers, they give, and then their finances suffer. It's not because they're not a good healer, it's because they're not making good financial decisions. Make good financial decisions and be a healer.
So you're basically saying that the law of reciprocity, how do you say that word? But everything should balance.
Everything balances, and it does.
So if you're undervaluing yourself, then yeah.
If you're saying I'm only worth this, and if you're not valuing your healing.
Exactly.
I tell you a little story with my mum. My mum and I, we worked in a healing centre in England, and then I was charging £30, which was about $60. See, I've not put my price up much over the years. And Mum had seen me with terminally ill people not charge. And so when one of her clients came in, she decided she'd say to the lady, look, I'll not charge you. The lady got very, very upset and said, you think I'm going to die, don't you? So there's a downside to not charging, because you can get that reaction in a person. They think all of a sudden, you think I'm going to die, that's why you're not charging me. So be aware of that. Yeah. Be aware of that. Yeah.
So for people that don't know anything about, spiritual or energy healing, what is possible? What's possible in healing? So if someone has a pain or a condition or whatever, if they're going to look into doing this, what is possible in the healing? So what can improve?
So what I'd say is try spiritual healing first rather than last, when you've spent all your money on other things that don't work. So try it first. It's a good idea to come along to a show. The idea of the show is to give people like a shop window view of what it is, so they can see it's not scary. I'm not the devil's instrument. And understand what goes on and what is possible. So typically pain and restriction can be removed. Now most diseases, they've got medical names and then it's a disease, but those diseases don't exist. They're just a cluster of symptoms that the doctors call a disease. Now I tend to work with clients and talk about symptoms like pain, tightness of breath, lack of energy, lack of coordination. None of those are diseases, and I can talk safely with my clients about symptoms. And so we talk about symptoms. And if I'm working with somebody who's terminally ill, we talk about symptoms. So in my experience, a few things I've not been able to do. If you've lost an arm, it's been amputated, I can't regrow it. If you suffer from dwarfism, I can't help. But other than that, most things can be helped. Because it's all about energy that the person's holding on to, consciously or unconsciously. And if we can bring enough energy in, if it feels safe enough that their receptors say, hey, this is safe, I can let go of this hurt, angst, upset, the person gets well. And usually it is just minutes.
That's awesome. So with the hurt, the emotions that these people have or they're holding on to, I mean, the way that I look at it with my clients or in general, is that people have had an experience and they haven't overcome that. Would you agree with that?
Right, they've had an experience, the experience has triggered emotions within them, and at that point in time they didn't have enough energy to release it. Let's say somebody's gone through a relationship breakup, and he's just come round and he's taken the car and he's cleaned out the cupboards, and then you realise he's taken something that was precious to you. Or he takes the cat or the dog. You'd be amazed how it hurts. We fight more over the cats and the dogs sometimes than possessions, which I suppose is fair as well. But at that time you just may go to bed sobbing your heart out, but you haven't got the energy to get angry, to clear, or whatever it is you need to do. And so that energy stays inside of you, and it brings your energy down because it takes energy to hold on to that energy, and you're not yourself, but you don't know what to do with it. And we go into like a melancholy or a bit of a depression, and then something happens. It might be we meet a new partner or a new girlfriend, or it might be we start going to the gym, or we go on a diet that raises our vibratory rate, and then we start clearing. But usually what happens with the diets, the vibratory rate starts going up, the person starts feeling emotionally not good and reaches for chips or fast foods or chocolate or alcohol. But we're actually emotionally processing because we've been eating lettuce leaves and carrots and healthy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the healing just brings in more energy
Yeah.
that the
Okay.
person is able to receive. Now, and I find with a person, every healing session is different. So coming to one session, that may not happen next time. Next session you might get lots of words about what's happening in your body and why. Next session might be absolutely silent. Next one might be really powerful. Next one might be really gentle. It's all based on what that person needs at that point in time.
Yeah. So when you see someone, do you know, oh yeah, this person needs a few visits, or you know, or is it just sort of take it at every visit, just, or
I would say for 80% of people, I do a session and then we get a result.
Yeah.
And of those 80% never need to see me again. Of the remaining 20%, as the person walks in the door, as they make the phone call, Spirit will actually tell me they will need this many sessions.
Wow.
I had a lady just ring me on Thursday that had got a problem, and Spirit told me not to charge her for the session. She broke down in tears. That was an emotional release for her, and they told me I had to work on her on Saturday and Sunday. Now, she felt fine after Thursday's session, but after Sunday's session she texted me to say, I can't believe this, I now am breathing properly, but I didn't know I wasn't breathing properly. Thank you so much for those extra 2 sessions. And I didn't charge her a cent for any of them, because the man upstairs, or the beings, whatever we want to think of, that higher power, said don't. It wasn't appropriate to charge her.
Wow, that's so cool. And do the spirits, they also tell you if you can help someone or if you can't help someone? Yeah, and it's very rare I can't. The girl that I took to Abidjan to see John of God, the situation I was in was she got a brain tumour, 15 years of age, and she had got double vision and was losing her speech, and through healing I was able to get her vision back and the speech was fine. Wow.
But I was going to go down the South Island on tour for 10 weeks, and I was typically seeing her once or twice a week, and I knew if I went off like that, she was going to go downhill and I might not get her back to where she was with quality of life. With no vision and no speech, there's going to be no quality of life, or very little. And so I asked for help, and the very same day I saw that John of God was coming to New Zealand, and it was his last ever trip here. Hopefully he will come again, but it was his last trip. And so I spoke to the mum, and the mum wanted to go, and then my partner wanted to go. He wanted to make sure I wasn't getting myself into something weird, like my life isn't weird enough. And we all went down to Wellington, and we all had to wear white, and you're in a motel and you come out all dressed in white, and it feels weird, I can tell you. And then you walk through Wellington Town Centre not Wellington Town Centre, it was in Lower Hutt, to get to the town hall, and you know who's going because they're dressed in white, and it's like being on a movie set. It's so weird. And as we got in there, we got the screens of him doing the scalpel on the eye.
Oh, so you could see it on a big screen?
On a big screen.
Blowing up.
You're like, oh no. Now, that was just footage of ones he'd done in Brazil. He's not allowed to do that in New Zealand. New Zealand law prohibits that because he's not a doctor. Yeah. But he does that. He works with a scalpel. It looks like a serrated fruit knife on the eyeball. You see him press onto the eyeball, the lens. Yeah. And he uses no anaesthesia. He doesn't scrub up. He just uses a few drops of holy water. It's amazing to see. You've got to watch it online, guys.
Yeah, look on YouTube if you want to see John of God.
And I've seen it up close twice. I've been out there. Now, the morning before we went to Brazil, a man's voice said to me, you do know that Amber is really, really ill. And that was to prepare me. But we got to Brazil. She had an amazing experience. She was out of a wheelchair.
Wow.
She didn't need her glasses at all. She could go like this. This was one of her balance things, and she could touch her nose, which was awesome. Oh. And she returned to the UK. She went to the movies with girlfriend. She'd never been able to do that. She went to the school ball. I mean, the timing was awesome. So she, and then she tripped over a loose paving stone. And that day, as she sat on the sofa, she said to her mum, "Mum, I'm not scared of dying. I do know. I'm actually quite curious to visit Spirit World." And her mum says, "Don't talk like that. You're doing so well. Don't talk like that." Within 3 weeks, she came downhill. And so the entities gave her some life experiences she wouldn't have had, but it was still her time to pass. The brain tumour was inoperable, and it was too big that they could do anything about. But she definitely had quality of life. And I know that the whole canteen community around her not only other people with cancer, but brothers and sisters of people with cancer were affected by her strength, her belief, her fearlessness, and her lack of pain. She had no pain.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
It is.
So what are your plans now for the current, your current, where you are at the moment? Are you going to be healing more, or?
So my plan is to stay present. Number one, guys, stay present in this moment. Stay in my heart space. Respond to what comes at me from my heart space, but have chunks of time to stand back from life to plan, how is it I wish to express myself and my gifts here? If you don't plan that time out, you will spend your whole life just reacting to what everybody else wants.
Yeah.
And then you will regret. You will regret not doing what you came here to do. So you need good chunks of time out to work out what is your gift, what is it you are wanting to do. A big part for me is the micronized purple rice. All right, for two reasons. It's extraordinary. It's the most amazing product on the face of the earth that I've found, and the business opportunity it gives people. I can empower a lot of people who want to do real good in the world. I can make them all millionaires. How cool would that be? So to me, that is a chance of a lifetime. And anybody that joins the business, they can do that too, because you can bring other people into the business and you can help those people firstly pay their bills, then lose that struggle, then get ahead financially, and then be able to be generous and start doing things. One of the things I want to do in our community here in New Zealand is good quality drinking water for everybody. That's my next goal.
Oh, nice. That is so cool. Yeah.
So the stuff that comes out of our taps, it's got minerals in, it's free of chlorine, it's free of fluoride, it's free of lead, arsenic, and all the other little horrible, hideous chemicals we have in our water. Something like 204 chemicals in New Zealand, Auckland water.
That they introduced.
Yes, it shouldn't be there.
That's
it shouldn't
crazy.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to influence other things like farming practices that need to be more sustainable.
Yeah.
Love our farmers. They're doing a wonderful job. They are the backbone. My partner's a farmer. I've got to be careful what I say. But they need to be helped so that it can be profitable and sustainable, not damage our environment.
Absolutely.
They need help, guys. Not criticism.
Yeah. And what is your future vision for, I guess, where the world's heading, or what you, and also what you envision with healing, with the medical profession, and do you see something coming up, or a change coming up? Or?
I share. It's Bruce Lipton's idea about where humanity's going. So I'll do it in a nutshell. Apologies to Bruce if I get this wrong, but for something like 1 billion years, the bacteria proliferated on the earth, and then they clustered together, forming colonies, and then they started to share an outer layer, the biofilm, and within the biofilm they specialised. Some cells were more involved bringing in nutrients, some cells were more involved repairing, and the way Bruce explains it is that then the biofilms proliferated, and then we've got species, and humans, we are proliferating now on the planet. There's lots of us, and we're coming together in groups.
Yeah.
And so I don't see governments continuing for much longer. I see grassroots communities, whether it's a group of mums setting up their own school, whether it's a group of healers setting up their own healing forums. It's already happening. It's been happening for a lot of years now, but let's just see it's happening. Let's notice it. Let's spot this out there. And so we come together and we share resources, and we develop each other. We share our knowledge, much like you're doing. And so that's what I see happening. And as we do that, I believe that, and this one might be a little bit off your radar, guys, but I believe I'm a receptor for the earth. So I believe that if I'm open and present, the earth can feel off me, get from out there what she needs. Whereas if I'm in struggle, then the earth struggles. So I believe that we as a human race, we can really affect the earth
Yeah.
in an amazing way. That we can sort out pollution on a physical level by becoming conscious, stop putting things in plastic. Duh. What was wrong with glass? Yeah, what was wrong with glass?
True.
But we need better ways. And so
Yeah.
to me, if we can, like here in New Zealand, if we can have good quality drinking water coming through the taps that we can prove is better than the bottled stuff, nobody will buy the bottled water anymore. Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's my goal.
Mm.
I love also, I don't know if you've heard about Thank You. Have you heard about the guy in Australia that does Thank You?
Oh, the water, the brand?
Yeah, the Thank You
Yeah,
water.
yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
And give a crap toilet paper. I mean, we're doing it, guys. We're making the change. So don't wait for governments. Just do what feels good in your hearts.
Yeah.
Gather together a group of people that share this love with you and make the change.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Cool. So, if anyone wants to look up your books or maybe even contact you for healing, where should they look?
My website is www.Jeanette, JEANETTE, @JeanetteWilson.com.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll put that in the description as well. So if you were to share one message with the world, what would that be?
One message with the world, what would it be? It would have to be peace. It would have to be peace. Deepak Chopra wrote a really thick book, Peace is the Way, years ago. I did buy it, Deepak, I bought the book, never finished reading it though, because about halfway through I got it, which is the way to peace is peace. So if we are not peaceful, there won't ever be peace on the earth. And one of the things I think a lot of people make, I was making it, I've been a spokesperson out against vaccines and genetic engineering, but you join the groups of people and you've got that struggle energy again, that fight and that angst, and it's detrimental. So I like to see myself as affecting those areas, but from a very different energetic space, because those people burn themselves out, they make themselves sick, and they're no good to anybody. It's not about fighting. We've got to find a peaceful way. And I'm coming back to that micronized rice again, because I've seen that fix so many different symptoms in people that they're throwing away their medical drugs. I'm not asking them to throw away their drugs, but they're realising, hey, my blood pressure's fine now. They go back to the doctor assesses it, and they're allowed to come off the drugs because the doctor says so.
Reassessment,
And so I'm taking the money away from the pharmaceutical drug companies, who also have very strong links with the people that are doing the GM, that are doing the vaccines. It's the same people if you look behind the scenes. And I also want to say is we have power in how we spend our dollars. So really think about every dollar you spend, and when you're buying something, is it sustainable? Is this a good use of the earth's resources? And if it's not, buy something that is, and support local.
Absolutely. Cool. Oh well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today.
My pleasure. And thank you for what you're doing, because I'm sure this will go out and help lots of people.
Yeah, hopefully we get a few people interested. But we've got quite a few interesting speakers coming up. So really looking forward to it.
Let's see if we can get you an interview with Bruce.
I already actually have emailed, but I haven't got a reply yet. But he's still on my list, and because I actually bumped into him at a conference, and I asked him, but I will message him again.
Cool.
All right, thanks.
Awesome.